Welcome, I'm Jon Caldara, president of the Independence Institute and your devil's advocate. A little later in the program, the case of the missing government emails. You don't want to miss that. But now, since marijuana is the legal business in Colorado, I thought we better understand exactly how it works a little bit better. So a couple of shady characters from a place called Good Chemistry. Hey guys, thanks for coming down and joining us. Duncan, Cameron, thank you for being here. You take care of the production side.
That's right.
You grow the product. And Steve Spinosa, you're the general.
Yep.
You're the general manager.
Operations and yeah.
All right. Let me ask you about you guys. What brought you into this business?
Well,
was this your childhood dream to grow pot in Colorado?
Not really. You know, I was a plant guy. I studied botany in college, so I was always interested in plants.
What were you thinking you were going to do after you graduated college with a botany degree?
I was going to play music.
Of course. All right, so you were a stoner back then too. So what got you here?
I had a friend that I worked with in Miami, New York, in film production, and he was coming out here to Colorado, and kind of just being really coy about what he was doing. Oh, it's a design project. Don't worry about it. And finally, when he broke down and told me, he said, "Hey, look, I know your skill set. You should come out and meet these guys." And that was late 2009, and that was the rest is history.
All right, so basically, you use botany, horticulture. You used your skills in growing the product.
That's right.
What does that look like? Is it outside? Is it inside? Is it big? Is it small?
I think that these are pretty big facilities. We have two. One is 10,000 square feet. The other one's 20,000 square feet. Indoors. Right now, we are almost forced to be indoors because of security issues. The state wants to make sure that there's no diversion, so stuff isn't leaving. And I think when most people picture a greenhouse cultivation, they picture a giant glass house that some 16-year-old kid might throw a rock into and then steal all the marijuana out of.
Right.
That model is not exactly correct. There are different models, but you know, currently we do grow indoors, although we do want to move outdoors.
Really? All right. Now, what brought you into the business?
All right. Well, I moved out here about 7 years ago with no intention of anything related to marijuana. So I came out here, and again, I had a friend that was doing it.
I knew a friend.
I
got a friend. I know a friend.
He was growing, and I loved it. I mean, we had a garden back home and stuff like that, but I got on the growing side too. I realized I had a green thumb, started getting real busy. This was way before, you know, regulations were in. We could actually, it's kind of like California is now. You could get to a dispensary and get rid of your.
So in other words, you could grow it privately, bring it to a dispensary, they buy it, and then off to the legal world.
Exactly, and that was back then. That's all changed.
Let me ask you the question: How business doing?
Business is good. I mean, no one's, you know, everybody sees a lot of money, but I don't know too many people that are personally killing it in the business, because to make this thing go, there's so many things we're involved in, and a lot of the money is going right back into the business to keep up with the rules and regulations.
What do you mean it's going back into the business?
So things along the line of like research and development. Right now, things along the line of concentrates, expanding it, you know, and you know we're trying to expand out of Colorado too. So, you know, that's.
I've always wondered with this, as the experiment of legalized recreational pot goes, what happens to the business model? You know, for a while there were more dispensaries in Denver than there were Starbucks.
Yep.
And that wasn't a joke, that was real.
Yep.
I'm wondering when we start seeing consolidation.
We've already seen it. When I got here in January 10, there were 400 plus dispensaries in the city of Denver. I think now there's between 140, 180, something like that. So we've seen it already. And you know, a lot of folks just weren't good business people. And this is a business. Take the marijuana out. Insert bubble gum, widgets, or anything, and you really have to know and understand business in order to be good at this.
Well, come on. This feels shady. As people are trying to understand it, they drive by, they see the shop. What is it that they don't know that you wish they would know?
Well, first of all, we are heavily regulated. The state puts a pretty heavy stamp on what we do, and there are cameras and everything, not only in the cultivation, but in the retail as well, and we have to track everything. So I can always track.
They call it from seed to sale.
That's
is
right.
that it? So actually, a seed, you know when it's planted, you have to track that.
Well,
is that right?
So that's not entirely true. We don't use seeds. We use clones. So really, for us, it's clone to sale. But yes, we can track product that we sold to a customer all the way back to a plant in the garden.
Yeah, they're tagged the minute they're cut, literally.
Really? So, so there's a lot of inventory on it. what's the biggest obstacle? You guys mentioned regulation. Come on, you haven't been around long enough to talk to the liquor guys about regulation. Talk to the builders about regulation and zoning and all the rest.
We have to go through all that
Well,
as well.
give me the bureaucracy that's a problem for you.
Well, I mean, my biggest issue, I mean, I wouldn't say, mine's education. That's the biggest issue I have, and I'm dealing with patients that come in, and like you said, trying to get people into the store to understand what this drug does. We've had patients on the medical side that have had a long list of prescription drugs that they've literally cut in half just by picking up an eighth a week, literally.
You say an eighth of an ounce.
An eighth of an ounce, sorry, yeah.
You've heard the horror stories, and they are horrific stories. Kids falling from balconies, the people really getting messed up on this drug. When you say education, what exactly do you mean?
Well, more along the lines of, I mean, there's an education on one side, you know, of specific strains, what they do, but there's also another part of before you even know what these things do, you have to know how to consume them, especially right now because of edibles. Edibles it's a big thing right now, and you know, people come in and don't realize what a dose is or a single serving is. They'll see something small, and knowing that it's potent, thinking they can handle it, and then have the worst time of their lives and never want to try it again. So it's our responsibility, it's the bud tender's responsibility to educate the patient or the customer when they come in.
What did you just call them?
Bud tender.
Bud tender?
Yes, sir.
A bud tender?
Yes.
Did you make that one up yourself?
No, that's been around for
really?
Standard.
Yeah.
God, shows what little I know. All right, so if there was one thing on education you would want people to know, what is it?
I would say, it's knowing your body, knowing what you can handle, knowing what you can consume. Then you're good, and then you know how to work with it and how to use it.
All right, now I'm assuming both of you guys are regular participants of your product. Would that be right?
Semi-regular.
All right.
Yes.
Is it possible to be, you know, I want to give you the softball. So people say when you start going on pot, gateway drug, big problems, you become a stoner. Tell me differently.
That's not true. And I think that when you look at any substance that people use, there's a difference between use and abuse. Some people can have a beer at the end of the day, and some people need to drink till they're drunk. And some people, even on legal drugs, take drugs for pain. Maybe they need an oxy because they fell off a balcony and broke their back. And then some people become addicts. So I think that that's no different than people that use this drug.
A lot of people say this, when I was a kid, getting beer underage, that was a big deal. And fortunately, I looked a lot older than I was, and getting beer underage wasn't a big deal for me. Looking older than I am now is just not as much fun. But this is easier to transport than the six-pack of brew. And going into the store was fun, but you get somebody else to do it. How do you keep kids from getting this product? And it is easier for kids to get this product. Does legalizing it make it easier for them? What's the safeguard? I
mean, well, there's a lot of safeguards, but I'd like to say, if there's a parent or something bringing it home, it's on them. As I'm a parent too. It's on you to put like you do all your medicine, put it someplace where no one can reach it. We just met with we had a CBA meeting, and the Department of CBA Cannabis Business Alliance. I apologize. Recently with the MED, and we had toxicology there, and what we were trying to narrow down is what we're talking about, a serving, what it is to someone and what it can do. And when we get into dangers and things like that, I mean, a 10 milligram serving, which we're calling one serving, a child can eat and be okay. That does not mean it's okay for a child to eat it whatsoever. Our biggest thing is what we do now is we have to have these double child-proof, child-resistant bags that cost about $3 a piece with one manufacturer in China. That's what we're regulated to use right now. Yeah, and we put all the stuff in there, and it has to be a bag that's literally, it's got like a little alligator clamp on it, a little Ziploc, and then you're supposed to take your medicine out of there, and when you're finished, you put it back in Ziploc so a child can't get to it. That's what's supposed to happen. What's stopping a 21-year-old from giving his little brother a joint? I mean,
personal
responsibility, yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about the money. I've heard banking is a problem. Do you guys get loans for building out your operation?
No, and I think one of the things we were talking about before, we're not rich because we have to use any money we make to put back into the company. If we want to build a new garden, we spent $1.3 million on our latest grow, which is 20,000 square feet. That came from us. We paid our contractors in cash because we cannot get loans.
What do you mean you can't get loans?
Banks will not play with us. There's 7 different agencies that govern banking, and for us to finally get banking, they all have to line up and say that this is okay.
So you were able to make $1 million plus investment in a capital facility in cash.
That's correct.
So one, don't tell me your business isn't doing well, because that's doing well.
If you
can do that.
Yeah. It's doing well.
We're doing good.
We're just not seeing
we're
it.
not Scrooge McDuck swimming in gold coins like people think, you know.
You're swimming in something. All right. So I can't buy the product with a credit card, right?
That's correct.
All right. So if I were to buy it, and I haven't, but if I were, I'd have to pay in cash, which means you have cash. You can't deposit that cash. Am I getting that part right? What does that look like?
Well, we pay all of our employees in cash. We pay all of our rent, utility bills, all of our contractors in cash, all of our vendors cash. When we need to get money orders from the store, and then if we have to mail something to somebody, a vendor that may be out of state or further down the road,
you got to go to Western Union, hunt down $3,000 for whatever parts you need, and buy a money order, basically.
And to be honest with you, like I've been to I think it was a King Soopers before, and they know that people are coming in to get them, and they literally had a book. It didn't say money orders; it said money laundering. I'm like, sure, fill this out. I was like, thanks.
Well, does it make you feel like criminals?
I mean, no one wants to. I mean, no one feels comfortable dealing with a lot of cash. But like Duncan said, like so much of it goes back into it and it's paid out. You know, so there's at the end of the day, we're not sitting on a ton of cash. It's just, again, like we have a safe, we have safes, we do this with it, we do that with it. There's nothing. We're not super rich, you know what I mean? Like
you guys do want a bank account.
We would love a bank account.
Why would you love a bank account?
We'd have more people to come. We'd get more business. You know, there would be more. We have an ATM at the shop and stuff like that. We do that for the people. And there are some people there are dispensaries that do accept cards, but they're falling off too. There's the credit card companies are catching on and literally cutting their bank accounts off. So,
and this is because federal government banking laws do not let you do business with an illegal drug. And on a federal level, this is still against the law.
That's absolutely, yeah.
All right. So looking forward, go 5 years ahead, not just for your company, but for the industry. What does it look like? What does Colorado look like with recreational marijuana in 5 years?
Well, let me start with the country. Right now, we're at 23 states that have some sort of medical marijuana law, 2 of which are recreational, Colorado and Washington State. And next year, there'll probably be another 2, Alaska and I forget the other state, that are going to go. In 2016,
because you have memory problems because you smoke pot.
It's because I have a lot going on. In 2016, there's probably going to be another 4 or 5 states as well. So I think on a national scale, you're going to see kind of you know, we're at that tipping point.
But in Colorado, is it grown? Is it going to be?
Well, I'll tell you what's going to happen in Colorado. Next year, they're going to try to align both medical and recreational laws. Because right now we have 2 different systems and markets don't work like that. You need one market. So they're going to try and align those rules and make one market so we don't have to have this book that says this is what you do for medical, this is what you do for recreational. It's going to be a much more streamlined system.
But I also, you know, when we were talking about consolidation earlier, I still think there's not going to be, it's not going to shrink that much.
Really, there's not going to be 3 companies that run it all.
There's a lot of dispensaries out there making money right now, and we're saturated. I do. I firmly believe that until, you know, Whole Foods or whomever gets a hold of, you know.
And they will at some point.
Yes, they will.
Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. Stay tuned.